Seahawks had their little game-like setting you were at this weekend. What was your? We'll play some thoughts from head coach Mike McDonald here in a few moments. But what was your biggest takeaway from the mock game?
I thought it was cool the way it was run. I mean, they kind of intermittently went, first versus first, second versus second, and they were doing like full, scrimmage, basically, and got away with just one injury. It was Finley, the defensive back, and I haven't heard exactly what happened with him. I thought it was an ACL, but anyway, that was the only injury. But then the other thing they did was, at one end zone, and there was a fair amount of people there, and everybody was cheering him on and everything. But, you had three different things going on at the same time. You had linebackers in the middle of the field with, one-on-one situations, whether it was a blocking thing for the running backs or they were running routes, just coverage. And then you had pass rush going on one end zone, and then just a quarterback and a receiver against a defensive back on the other side. And saw a lot of good things, man. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that, if I would have just driven down to see this play, it would have been worth it. There was a spin move that Big Cat Williams put on Gray Zabel that was just phenomenal. Like, it was like a textbook spin move, and I just couldn't believe the quickness. And that just demonstrates how he can play anywhere on the line. But I think he was lined up. Yeah, he was lined up inside, obviously, because Gray Zabel's a guard. And yeah, the spin move and the way that he got past him, Zabel got beat, but then his recovery, like, I almost thought he spun the other way, but he didn't. He just took a giant step and recovered. And so I'm like, I don't know if that would have been a sack or not. I mean, it was an impressive spin move, but the way that Zabel, just got his feet under him and was able to take like a direct line to cut him off, he might have actually blocked him on that one. So that was probably one of the most spectacular things I saw, and I like seeing the one-on-one stuff. But, for the most part, the other thing that really stood out to me, our defense is very disciplined as far as the window dressing, where they're up there looking like you don't know who's rushing, in other words.
Right.
And I think they're absolutely dedicated to that. And that's what makes their defense so good. You cannot tell who's going to rush and who's going to drop out. And then they have so much versatility in there. So, yeah, I mean, there was I wrote down a lot of different names. I thought that was the most impressive thing I saw. And it was just a one-on-one type of situation. But I liked that they kept going back between, working on coverage and all kinds of different individual things, and then back to like a team type of situation. And it looked like it was ones versus ones once, but then, they were substituting people in and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to tell, what. I wasn't logging every single play, but they got a lot done. They really did. And that's the thing about Mike McDonald's, those guys, the coaches, they want to get in as much as they can in a tight period of time. And I thought they saw a lot. I thought there was a lot there that they can make decisions on as to who's starting, who do we feel good about.
Did it look like the defense was way ahead of the offense? Did it look equal? How did that matchup look to you?
Yeah, I mean, the offense wasn't like overwhelmed, and some of the plays that they ran, like putting Arroyo in motion, and then there was another little swing pass to Charbonnet where he had a lead blocker. The very first play, they had a fullback in.
Really?
Yeah, they had Oots in.
Oots?
Yep. So, but yeah, and they ran like a little swing pass to him. The other thing I noticed that Jalen Milroe that I saw, I didn't see him throw a lot of passes. There was a lot of tuck and run, which I'm fine with. Yeah. And he's got great speed, and he's a good running quarterback. So I think he's trying to be careful right now, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think it's going to take a while for him, but yeah, there was most of the time where he was pulling it down and running.
All right. Well, Mike McDonald talking after the game and talked about what it is he liked most from that game.
The spirit of our group right now, and like the intention of what we're trying to achieve is spot on. It's right where we need it. I mean, we're not perfect by any stretch. A lot of things that that we're chasing right now, and we're kind of done with the install phase. So we were talking about the other day is, hey, now we're circling back, and let's focus on getting really good at what we do. But some good situational work. It was great to see the threes there at the end. Go down the field. There was a funky flag that was thrown right there on third down by the ref in charge, I guess. But it was good. They went down the field, executed. We'll see if that was a touchdown at the end of TB, but guys are in a good spot, but much needed and much deserved day off.
I like that he's complaining about officials in a mock game. A bit of a funky flag. I don't know what that guy's looking at, but whatever. In a mock game.
I think that one went against the offense, but anyway, yeah.
That's pretty funny. He's in midseason form.
Yep.
He's ready. He's battling. He's chasing edges, Dave. That's what that is.
That's exactly what he's doing.
No, but it's hopefully, you know, and again, I'm fully prepared. I know we have a different opinion on what we think the offense will do to start the year. I'm kind of preparing myself for a slow start. That, all right, maybe it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a beat before they really get their rhythm and get that cohesiveness, if you will, just because everything is so new on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
You know, especially at the most crucial position, your quarterback, but whole new offense, new coordinator, new O-line coach, new receivers. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of change there.
Totally. New quarterback coach, brought in a run game specialist.
Yeah.
A couple that you didn't mention. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, especially when it's your quarterback and your offensive coordinator. So, yeah, it sounded like Mike was pleased. I mean, I think the other thing is this defense is, I mean, we're looking at one of the best defenses in the second half, and they haven't changed a whole lot.
I expect them to be that hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing was a couple of the depth positions. I wrote down Nehemiah's number a couple of times. I thought he stood out. I thought he did a good job at corner. So him, and then the other thing that I've worried a little bit about is the depth at inside linebacker. And the guy they call Patrick O'Connell, he looks great. I mean, obviously he's a depth option because you look at Tyrese Knight out there. I don't know how he does it. He just sifts through blockers and just finds the guy. And then, like, once he gets there, he's got some pop in his bat.
Yeah,
he really does. But yeah, I'm kind of worried about the depth there. I thought Drake Thomas looked good too, and he might end up being a special team guy. But Patrick O'Connell is one guy that's really stood out to me, and then Nehemiah Pritchett, I think, looked really good. So that might solve those two problems. We're talking about, you know, depth at those two positions and how important that is.
Mike Macdonald after the game also talking about what it is that stands out to him about the rookie class.
Well, I think the same things that we were talking about in the spring, the spirit they've had, you know, those habits that they formed throughout the offseason program are paying dividends for them. So the dedication, the work ethic, you know, they've adopted routines. I think the vets are taking a liking to them because how they treat them with respect. You know, they're good guys, but they're also really hard players, doing their jobs. You know, there's a responsibility there. So it's just a great combination of talent, of ability, of character, football character, and they spend a lot of time with one another. You know, the linemen are thick as thieves, as Jim Harbaugh would say, and it's going to be a fun group to track, you know, over this year and years to come.
I like that you went from a coach that used to hate Jim Harbaugh to a guy that quotes him regularly. You know, another guy I wanted to bring up was Abe Lucas. That guy is such a natural at his position. I think, like I said, I think he might be the most spectacular player. And what I mean by that is that he does things that stand out. You know, that even if you're not like an aficionado of offensive line play, it just makes sense. You know, like when he gets bull rushed, how he drops his weight and he kind of widens his stance, and he's a natural. So yeah, as long as that knee stays healthy, that's another good thing. So, you know, you talk about three of the offensive linemen. I don't know what's going on with Charles Cross. I guess he had to have a surgery
on his finger.
Yeah, because of a dislocation, which is interesting. I don't know.
So
maybe
he wasn't out there?
No. And I was wondering, maybe it was a compound dislocation where the bone comes through.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he had to get that done. But again, we start, you know, the big mystery is center and guard, and I think that's probably going to continue to go. It'll be interesting to see when Mike finally settles on who are the two guys that are going to play those positions. But you talk about the other three, and I feel pretty good about it.